in the midst of the abyss. Now, I just want to pose a simple question, and I encourage everyone to ponder on their own time. The question I want to pose is, how many dimensions are you aware of simultaneously? The reason I want to pose this question is because us over here in the West, Western society, we still consider things like chi pseudoscience. So mainstream America doesn't even acknowledge what we call energy. This is not something that you can go to these schools to learn about in depth and full and be holistic with it. It's not happening. Therefore, we understand, or at this point we should understand, that the vehicle or the vessel that we use to access dimensions, realities, realms, the vehicle we use to travel beyond third density is chi. Chi has intelligence. Chi, you can say, is the mist. It's like the clouds, the mist that the thought travels through. So when you think beyond and above and beneath on a metaphysical level, this requires energy to do. So, because this is considered pseudoscience, it's not taught. Therefore, you have to teach yourself with personal experience. I give you an example. There's people who can't even feel their energy. I encourage everybody to try this. Just move your hands and build up a ball of energy in the middle, the medium right here. Place your awareness between your hands and imagine the ball of energy expanding and expanding and expanding to the point where you can feel the energy expanding. This is simple, a simple technique, just to place in your mind that chi is real and that it actually responds to your thoughts and it is intelligent enough to respond to your thoughts, directly reflecting what you are thinking. So because you are visualizing a expanding ball and you actually feel an expanding ball in between your hands, that means that chi not only is reflecting your thoughts, it has enough intelligence to reflect your thought perfectly. Right? Therefore, you have to self-experiment with these type of things. This is why all of this knowledge that we are receiving in these times are incomplete. We're getting a little bit here, we're getting a little bit there, we're getting a little bit over here, we're getting a little bit over there. Everything is like scattered. We're dealing with a bunch of scattered pieces trying to link them together. And the one thing that links all of them together is what we call energy. What do we know about energy? We understand that, again, if we're talking about anything on the astral realm, anything on the dream realm, anything involving synchronicity, all this is only possible through energy, or what we call chi. You can even break it all the way down to carbon. If there was no carbon, there would be no life. We also see that people can demonstrate how sensitive or how aware they are to the chi around them. Let me give you an example. So you see my hands right here. Let me give you a quick example. See my hands right here. We have chakras in our fingertips and also in our palm, if you weren't aware of that. So I can point my finger at the camera, set an intention, and you actually feel the energy. Let me show you what I mean. So just steal your focus on the fingertips. You know, just steal your focus. So when I do this, you can see everything. So let me make sure I'm fully in screen. Let me give you an example. All right. So this is me mimicking electricity. Like electricity is flowing, right? This is me manipulating light. If we understand how light travels, how the eye works, so me doing all this is manipulating light, which is manipulating the frequency that's being transmitted through the camera, through the internet, through the Wi-Fi, so on and so forth. All right? For anybody who knows anything about computers and electronics, everything has a certain file size. It may be 36 megabytes, 24 megabytes, 5 megabytes, depending on what you're working with. So I can record this video and record another video right after this, the exact same length. Let's just say it's 12 minutes. I record a video for 12 minutes and record another video, the same exact time length. But depending on what I'm doing within those 12 minutes, it will determine the file size. So if I just sit still for 12 minutes, let's just say it'll be 36 megabytes. However, if I start doing a little bit more, I start showing a little bit more, moving around, manipulating the energy, that same 12 minutes will end up being maybe like 58 megabytes because there's more movement, there's more motion, therefore there's more being captured within the camera, or on the camera there's more movement being captured, which creates matter. Hopefully that makes sense. So again, let's go back to the basics. We don't want to take up too much time. Then I just want to get this out. I just want to give y'all something to ponder on. We don't have to go too deep into the science. Just want to give y'all a simple question to ponder on and see how far your thoughts can expand. Once again, if we want to become aware of more dimensions, more realities, more aware in our dreams, more aware when we are awake, all these things require chi, and to manipulate the intelligence of chi with our thoughts. You know, so this basic thing has been broken down to things like the law of attraction, so on and so forth. You know, they take that information and they put, you know, other things with it. You know, it's like alchemy. They're mixing a lot of things together and calling it one thing. This is pretty much what we have been doing since the beginning of time. That's why we have many different cultures around the world. Everybody looks at the basic formula or the basic foundation and apply their own unique creativity to it. But it's simply all the manipulation of the basic foundations, which is chi, which is prana, the manipulation of prana, and what influences prana is our thoughts. So that's why all thoughts matter, because all of our thoughts subtly influences the chi around us, which charges our aura, which pretty much has an effect on our relationships between people. How lucky or unlucky we are, how successful or unsuccessful we are. Everything is based on how we choose to manipulate chi. The manipulation of chi will determine the quality of your life. So this basic formula, again, is not even acknowledged in Western society for the most part. There is very bits and pieces, but they don't acknowledge it as a complete science at this point in time. Therefore, if you go over to the East, they have a whole system revolving around chi and prana, and they have put it in every aspect of their life. It's within the medical field, it's within their martial arts, it's within how they eat their food, it's within the way they exercise. Their whole life revolves around the acknowledgement of chi, because they acknowledge this as an actual fact. It's not a theory, it's an actual fact. And it applies to every aspect of life. So the same way they apply it to every aspect of life, we can do the same, because this is how you manipulate chi, and this will affect the quality of everything in your life, the quality of your thoughts, and the quality of the manifestation of those thoughts. So the vehicle used for us to see further so that we can create more, we can enhance our mathematics, we can we can see further into our visualizations, we can travel deeper into our dreams, we can see more opportunities when we are awake. All this is based on our ability to influence chi. Since it's unseen, you can call it dark matter. Since it's dark matter, since we can't physically perceive it, however, we understand that thought can influence it, just like I gave you the example before. Just imagine a ball expanding in the middle of your hands, and you keep your concentration there, and you will be able to feel a ball expanding. So we understand this chi is intelligent, right? So we can use this live example and prove to ourselves that chi is not only real, but it actually is intelligent, and it responds to thought. Something as simple as that will completely expand your mind. So we understand and we acknowledge the intelligence in the chi. You know, y'all see me sweating. It's super hot. I'm telling you, see, I'm in the shade. When you in Vegas, you can be sitting still, and you just, everything is gonna be coming out of you. It's like a continuous detox. But let's not get off point. The simple acknowledgement of prana, of chi, of real, we can see this is also connected to secret societies. You know, people who consider themselves yogis or Jedis or gurus. Whenever we start to see miracles and things that we don't even believe, when people see things right before their eyes and they still don't believe it because they consider it a miracle, even though they are perceiving it with their eyes, they still can't even bear the actual reality that this has happened. The equivalent to somebody who wins $1 million. It's like it's hard for them to even accept that reality, especially when they never have handled that much money, and they just get it in an instantaneous manner, such as just playing a lottery or something. It's something that they're going to have a hard time adjusting to it, if they ever do adjust to it. It takes some time, because now everything is different instantly. We all know that manifestation takes place in a realm of no time, meaning time doesn't move or time slows down. So we also understand, this is the second point, that when we think and we concentrate our thought into an actual purpose to manipulate the chi, this is taking place in a realm of no time. For example, there's a way to think faster than time, to the point where it seems like you're doing more. It seems, it would appear as if time is slowing down. We all have noticed this. Time appears to be going slow, then other times time appears to be going faster. Right? So when we understand that time can be manipulated by us, it's not that time is actually going faster, and it's not that time is actually going slower. It's us manipulating time so that it appears to be speeding up or slowing down, when in all actuality there is no time to begin with when it comes to manifestation. Of course, we live in this 24-hour clock, but this is all based on illusion. This is all based on light. This is all based on what appears to be so in the third density. We understand there's more levels, however, that does not require light to manifest. How is it that you're able to see in your dreams if your eyes are closed? And we understand the eyes are connected to the brain, so when light hits the iris, it causes the brain to do all the things that it does so that the picture is reflected out towards you. However, the eyes are closed when you're dreaming. However, you still have sight. How is it that you have sight within darkness? What is lighting up the dream? What is lighting up the astral plane? What is lighting up your visualizations when you close your eyes and when you imagine something? What is it that's giving that thought light? See, how deep can we take the question? What lights up the darkness when there is absence of light? Unless the thought itself is able to illuminate the dark matter. Or in other words, this is why they say thoughts become things. The reason thoughts become things, because the thought illuminates the dark matter, which is the carbon, which shapes and molds itself in accordance to the thought in physical time. Third density. The thought itself illuminates the dark matter. So you can say, this has nothing to do with the sun, and it also has nothing to do with the moon. It has nothing to do with the solar calendar. It has nothing to do with the lunar calendar. These are all measurements of time, or for us to see the manifestations of the various cycles within the human body reflected outside of us. That's why when we study nature, we are simply studying ourselves, because nature is reflecting certain cycles and processes that the body already goes through on a daily basis. You're just able to see it manifested in real time so that you can study it. When you study the earth, it's like you're studying the human bodies, the various cycles of the human body. Every 7 years, we have a completely new body. Everything completely changes. All the cells renew themselves and are constantly rejuvenating themselves over the process of 7 years. And of course, the more and more we break down these cycles, it starts to seem a little bit hyper speed in terms of, if we knew how fast certain things were traveling within the body, we probably couldn't even comprehend it. There's certain things that we can comprehend, but then there's things that's going on an unseen level, on a subatomic level, that we couldn't even comprehend. We kind of can't even comprehend how fast thought travels, because you can instantly visualize things. If I tell you to visualize $1, you can do it instantly. If I tell you to imagine $1 million, does it take more time? No. It's still instantaneous. That's just how fast thought travels. It's damn near instantaneous. It's something we can't even really visualize. So it's one thing to study the body in terms of the human anatomy level, but it's another thing to study the body on a subatomic level, or just a subatomic or the metaphysical realm as a whole, because we start to see things from a whole nother perspective. The smaller things are, they start to behave differently. So because the subatomic level is smaller, it behaves differently. Just like us, as in man and woman, we behave differently than the sun, moon, and stars. They have their own patterns and intelligence and their own cycles that they follow. The macrocosm and the macrocosm, as above, so below. So depending on the level we're on, we see things acting differently. So we see the human level, then we can perceive the unseen level by accessing our psychic abilities. So for any of us who want to tap into the subatomic realm, who wants to understand it, if you don't have access to laboratories, if you don't have access to microscopes and expensive equipment so that you can see things happening in real time, if you don't have access to that type of thing or those type of resources, The resources that you have to tap into is the chi and the prana within self, and to manipulate it to expand your vision. Just like I said, if the thought itself is illuminating dark matter, you can expand the thought. So if you command your astral sight to see the sun close up, you can do so with your astral sight, because there is no time and no space. There is no limitation. There is no boundaries. Everything is connected with everything else. There's no reason why you can't do that. But of course, we're now thinking that we need money. We need certain type of resources to do certain type of things. However, when you have the full knowledge of yourself, you understand that you can do things beyond what we have come to think of ourselves able to do. And if we understand that the subconscious mind creates everything around us, everything around us is a projection of the subconscious mind, so that we have to influence the subconscious mind, which you have to go to the astral realm or the dream realm or a trance state. You can't necessarily do it in the physical. That's why you have to program it using alternative means. It ain't something that you can just, you can battle with your hands. This is something that you have to utilize your higher senses to even access. So, all these things require energy and an understanding of energy, and to know that energy is intelligent and does respond to thought at an instantaneous speed that we can't even imagine. This is what I mean by enhancing your mathematical, ability, so that you can start to see things manifest on a subatomic plane, and to understand just all of the processes that happens from sound to matter, how things manifest, and you can actually observe the full process, expanding your sight, knowing that your visualization can take you beyond 3D. And the vehicle or the vessel that's being used is the chi or the prana, and the manipulation of the intelligence of dark matter. This is what's going on. So, now that we have laid down that foundation, I definitely want to keep it scientific, keep it mathematical, keep it metaphysical, keep it esoteric, and keep it within sound principles, so that it doesn't seem too far off. So now that we established the foundation, I raise the question again. How many dimensions are you aware of? Simultaneously or individually? Now that we understand how all of this stuff is working, or at least have an idea of how all of these things are working. So once again, don't want to take up too much time. Just want to give you some things to ponder upon. And, if anybody has any questions, I will answer them. And, we'll be able to get out of here on the half an hour mark. So y'all let me know. And I seen everybody coming in. Let me see. What's up, Ian? What's up, Sharice? What's up, Rod? What's up, Queen of Success? What's up, Moon Spirit? What's up, everybody? Brianna, Amir, Softfire. What is this? If I don't know how to say your name, then I'm just going to spell it out. So we don't want to have any confusion. So I'll say everybody, peace, peace. Rob said he's going to be in Vegas next month. I hope you're ready for this heat, bro. I hope you're ready for the heat. You know what I mean? This is a summer. Like, this heat is going to be crazy, man. So, definitely prepare for the heat. But it's really no way to prepare for it. It's kind of like you got to get used to it, As you see, if you experience in Vegas right now, I'm sweating everywhere. So, hold on, let me see. What's up, Mr. 777? The Prime Ascension. Yo, what's up? What is this? Argus, AGRISJ. Argus J, however you say that. Peace, what's up, bro? I see you, Millennium Alchemist. What's up, Millennium Alchemist? What is this? Was it Solaris? Auris. However you say your name. Again, I don't want to mispronounce any of these things, but I see everybody. I just want to acknowledge everybody that's coming in. Jesus says, how do you control which dimensions you're in? I find myself switching at random times. Well, this goes back to, this is why you have to make this a science. When you study the intelligence of chi and prana, it has a nature. Just like a tiger has a nature, there's certain rules that it follows. So when you study the chi, by practicing the technique and manipulating it with your mind, this is just you studying it, studying the nature of it. So you have to become aware of its nature so that it becomes second nature to you. The nature of the chi or the prana's nature becomes second nature to you, so that because you understand how it works, because you have put it into action, you have fully observed how thoughts become things, how sound becomes matter. You have witnessed this full process because this is what you're putting your thoughts on. So you're not thinking about what you're manifesting per se. You want to understand the process. This is the difference between wisdom and materialism. The materialism thinking is just all about, I want to manifest and accumulate more things, more things, more things, more of this, more of that, more of this, more of that. Versus the wisdom, I just want to understand how the process works. Because if I understand how the process works, I can manipulate it in a way that best suits me. I can apply my understanding to its nature and manipulate it that way, as opposed of I'm just trying to do anything to accumulate more and more. Versus I put my energy towards understanding its nature. And the more I understand its nature, the easier it is for me to manipulate it. Because I understand it, meaning I understand the inner workings of it. When you understand the inner workings of a thing, you can further manipulate it beyond what you thought was possible when you started to do the knowledge on it. So there you go. You just have to observe and study the nature and the laws and rules and regulations of chi, and how much it responds to the thought, and how much influence you have over the chi based on your power level. Right? But this is why I want to encourage people to study the East. Because we are well acquainted, with the African sciences. We've been studying these things: Egyptian, the Sumerian, the Moorish. You know what I mean? The Islam. We understand all these things. But how many of us know about the 80 mortals from China? Which archetype of the 80 mortals do you see yourself through? Do you even know who the 80 mortals are? The 80 mortals are teachers of the metaphysical arts. So we started in America with the alchemy, the Hermeticism, the Tree of Life, the Kabbalah. We studied these tools. We started over here in the West, but then we make our pilgrimage to the East, and we apply everything that we have learned along the way, because we had to go through Africa, then you had to go through Egypt, then you had to go through India, then you got to go through China, then you got to go through Japan, you got to go through Australia, you got to go through the United Kingdom, right? So when you traveling with this knowledge, it's like you're making a pilgrimage all across the world, and you're taking these pieces that you're picking up and you're formulating it into one science. So the destination is to arrive at the Far East, the land of the immortals, and study the 80 mortals. And that's just an introduction. I encourage, if you don't know about the 80 mortals, study them and find which one of the 80 mortals that speaks to you, and establish connection or contact with that immortal so that they can show you how these things are done. That's that which we are speaking of now. They can show you how these things are done, first-hand experience. So I'm just giving y'all some insight into how the knowledge travels, wisdom travels all around the world. So you have access to the entire world to gain wisdom from. Study nature like you study yourself. What's up? I see you, Afro Pick, but maybe you would prefer me to call you by your new username. So Lavi or Lavi. So I'll call you by your new username, Lavi. What's up, Grand Inquisitor? Peace to you. No, not the 80 immortals, the 8 immortals, not the 80. The 8 immortals. So you type in 8 immortals, not 80. You always give the best information that most are too afraid or selfish to discuss. Well, that's why, it's always a few of us, right? Because again, it's not that, as you pretty much are saying, it's not that they don't know this. They're just not expressing it. They're keeping it to themselves. And they're becoming more like, vampires than enlighteners. They're moving with that lunar energy as opposed to that solar energy. They're all about the realm of manipulation versus the realm of light and illuminating the dark matter. They want to stay hidden within the dark matter. But, it's all a reflection of their power level. That's why I'm encouraging everybody to increase your power level. Increase your power level so that you don't have to be manipulated by these vampiric or vampires. You don't have to be manipulated by those energies because you're stronger than those energies because you're not afraid to come out into the light. You know what I mean? Just like, you're not afraid to come to the West Coast and feel this sun. You know what I mean? Allow this sun to purify you in mind, body, and spirit. You already know. So, and again, I definitely encourage everybody. Again, don't be afraid. Utilize the Cash App. Utilize the PayPal. Go to the website. Hit up my email, asharenu.com. Hit me up for services. I do many, many things. And again, I'm in the process of updating the website so y'all can see, my full arsenal, my full tool set. But for now, if you want any type of services, definitely hit up the email. I know I got everything you need, everything you could possibly think of. So it's a little advertisement thrown in there. You had dreams of Asian people inviting you to dinner, explaining things to me that I understood what they were saying, even though I didn't physically know the language. That's telepathy. That's what I'm talking about. That's how people communicate with animals. That's how people communicate with plants. That's how people communicate with the stars. That's how people communicate with the sun. That's how people communicate with the moon. They're utilizing telepathy. So you see that you having that Asian essence, they're coming to you because that's what they specialize in. They specialize in teaching the secrets of chi and the secrets of prana and how to manipulate it. That's what they specialize in. So that's why I'm pointing you to that direction because this is what they specialize in. And to me, this is like the hidden key that most people are missing because they don't truly understand how this process works. So I'm giving you a direction. If you truly want to understand the law of attraction, magic, miracles, yogis, gurus, the Far East, alchemy, all that. If you truly want to link all of these sciences together, you have to study the Far East. You have to go to Asia and study the culture, even if you started here in the West. And again, you're going to be picking up things along the way too. So Asia may be the destination, but you got to pass through that Moorish science. You got to pass through the African sciences. You got to pass through Egypt. You got to pass through Samaria. You got to pass through Jerusalem. You got to pass through all these places. So you're going to be picking up things along the way, which had you not picked up the things along the way, when you got over to the Far East, it wouldn't have made no sense anyway to you. So you pick up these tools so that when you get to the Far East, they make sense to you and you can piece it all together into one science, So this is what, in the next 10, 15, 20 years, we can have people thinking on a mastermind level, doing things that we never thought was possible because we were not afraid to expand beyond the known realm. That's the whole point. That's the whole point, to expand beyond what we known, what we knew was possible before, to bring in a new law of what we know to be true at this point. You said no. All right, all right. I call you out from Pink. You said no. Don't call me by the new the new username. I feel you. I feel you. It's all good. Shaolin, Shaolin. Would you say trusting your imagination does the job even with minimum experience? Well, the whole point is to increase your experience with experimentation. That's the whole point. If you have minimum experience, it's time for you to experiment so that you can gain experience through your experimentation. Those words are just so close together. So if you are lacking in experience, you must experiment. That's why you have to learn. That's why I gave you the technique at the beginning of the video. That's just an introduction. You can expand from there. Now that you acknowledge that the chi is real and it reflects what you are thinking, then that means it's for everything else. Meaning the chi is everywhere. The dark matter is everywhere. It's not just in between your hands. That means it's everywhere. That means your thought can influence any and all things. All is mental. So you start to do your own experimentation. Like, yo, how powerful are my thoughts? So if you really want to know your power level, you start to, how much influence do you have over chi? Not over necessarily reality. Not over reality, but over the power that, over the source that powers reality. There we go. It's not about how much power you have over reality, but the source that powers reality. How much power and influence do you have over that? Because to have power and influence over that, then the projection of that, is a cakewalk. Because you understand the source. When you understand the source, you understand the projection from the source. Because it is essentially the same thing. They are one and the same. All right, there it is. I appreciate all the titles. Grand Inquisitor. You know what I mean? We already know. Giving out those codes. We'll say think versus thought. That's funny. I see you with the butterfly Isis goddess. So, and hopefully I made myself clear. Hopefully I was able to expand, give you some type of insight into how to further develop these techniques. Again, you may not have access to a teacher. You may not have the money. You may not have the time. You may not have the resources. So you have to go within and seek the guidance of the ascended immortals. But that's my whole thing. We have to stop thinking that just because we don't have the resources right in front of us, that we can't do nothing, that we have to sit and wait and suffer. Waiting is a waste of time. Suffering is a waste of time. We don't have to subject ourselves to any type of reality we don't want to subject ourselves to, because we have access to the resources. We just have to power up your psychic abilities so that you can expand beyond what you thought was possible. Just last week you was fucked up. Now you lit. Now you lit. Just a week ago you was fucked up. Now you lit because you chose to expand further than what your eyes can perceive, than what you thought was possible. You started thinking about what's possible. What are my true abilities? You have to experiment because there is no limits. So it's not about what you can't do, it's all about what can you do. And that's based on your power level. You increase your power level by being able to manipulate chi more efficiently by studying its nature and reflecting its nature, because you have studied it. Now it's second nature to you. You know, there you go. What's up, Miss Omega? What's up, Lively Living? I see everybody checking in. Let me see where we at with it. 117. So, You already know. But I'm glad y'all like this effect. I like the effect too. I'm trying to make everything more high quality, be more professional. Again, we taking it to the next level. We ain't just whipping out the camera and just walking around no more. We're gonna make everything professional. We're gonna keep it calm and cool, being able to expand and visualize. Something that you can take with you. It's not something that you're just gonna forget when I hit the X button. You have to travel with the wisdom and let the wisdom enlighten you through your travels. When you travel with wisdom, wisdom will enlighten you during the travels. Wisdom can't enlighten you if you don't travel with it. If you don't travel with it, you must travel with the wisdom the same way that you're quoting a mantra over and over as you go through life. That's the power. The power is in the chi that's generated through the walk and the intentions behind the walk. So it's stream Brazil, stream Brazil, stream Brazil, or clean, 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 or whatever mantra that you choose. It's in your walk. It's in when you walk with that wisdom. That's when you start to get the results because you generate chi as you walk. You generate chi as you think, and you are combining these kinetic forces and creating a circuit. Now you got to go into the electricity. You are creating a circuit of energy that's building and building and building and building and building. And once it gains enough momentum, it takes a life of its own. It starts to influence the chi, and now these things will start to reflect back at you in the form of synchronistic moments to let you know that what you're doing has now reached the level of dark matter. And now somebody may say something that sparks your thoughts. You may see something that's in accordance to what you're thinking, or you may have the actual manifestation. Right? So there you go. Where's Asharenu's book at? We still in production with the book. We still in production. We're taking our time with it. We're not gonna rush through it. It's definitely gonna be a game changer for those who are on the level. That's why I'm doing all this. I'm just preparing you. I'm just preparing you for what's to come. This is just the basics. I'm just preparing you for what's to come. Because there's going to be a time that comes where you have to rely on your psychic abilities. And if they're not developed, then you're gonna have to bear a real hellish fate if you don't learn what we already have inside of us. If you don't utilize your magic by being the magician, by being the alchemist, by being the sorcerer, by being the necromancer, being the light that came from the darkness, the nothing that came, or the something that came out of the nothingness. I was about to say it backwards. But y'all understand what I'm talking about. All right. I appreciate the Glenn and Quinta. And I appreciate the love, homie. And so, let me see. Certain things that enhance chi, like breath work, would help. Yeah, that opens up the door. When you get your breath on point, that opens up the door. So once you get your breath on point, once you know how to breathe in a rhythmic pattern, pretty much you have taught yourself how to breathe again. We have to reteach ourselves how to breathe fully. So when you have to reteach yourself how to breathe by practicing over and over again, by consciously breathing. We tend to breathe automatically. We're not thinking about the breath, but we have to constantly keep our breath on our minds so we reprogram our breathing. So when we start to naturally breathe deeper and more full, we're going to have access to more energy by, just automatically because we've been putting in that work. But till then, you have to put conscious thought into your breathing. So anybody who's not putting conscious thought into their breathing and wondering why you don't have access to energy, because it all starts with the breath. That opens up the door to a whole nother reality. But you literally have to keep your mind on your breathing because we have been taught how not to breathe correctly by, again, maybe eating the wrong foods, thinking the wrong thoughts. And again, everything is relative. Just anything that opposes who and what you are. Because one person's wrong may be another person's right, so it is what it is. What's your wrong and your right is based on your soul. what's right to you, what you should be doing with yourself based on your personal alignments. So that definitely opens up the door. Retraining yourself how to properly and fully breathe. That definitely opens up the door. And once you open up that door, now you have to use conscious thought to walk through the door and to stay within the door. Stay on the other side. You know, it's not just to open the door. You got to walk in and be able to train yourself. You have to adjust yourself because it's like the gravity is different. The higher you go up or the lower you go down, it's like the gravity is different. That's why people have a hard time retaining their consciousness in the dream realm or the astral realm. It's like the gravity is different. So it takes a lot more energy to retain consciousness because the gravity is different. The gravitational pull is different. So you have to, that's why it takes more and more energy because the gravitational pull is different. You know, so it's more weight on your mind when you have projected yourself to the astral plane. Now you're working through a projection. You got the bodies, but now when you're navigating through the projection, your body generates a projection, a double of yourself, so that you can travel through the astrals. So now you have to power up this projection, as well as your consciousness within the projection. All of these things require energy. And the only reason we even have like trance-like dreams anyway is because when we're asleep, we breathe normally. We breathe the way we're supposed to breathe, and when we sleep, that's why we're able to dream and have all these visualizations. If we were breathing that same way in real time, we would be able to project ourselves into the astral plane without even having to go to sleep, because we will naturally be building up that much more energy to be able to do things, to be able to retain the energy of a vessel. Is like you are generating a projected double of yourself. It requires energy, and you also projecting your consciousness. So now all these things need a source of energy. So if you don't have enough energy, then you're not going to be able to do that. But when you are asleep, when you are not animating your physical body and you're breathing properly, now you're able to maintain your consciousness and the power of the etheric double that you will have generated. Now they can retain consciousness and power because you're asleep and you're breathing correctly. If you were doing this anyway, then you will be able to do that. You know, you can get into a meditation and project yourself into a trance state and maintain consciousness by stilling your body. All of these things are possible when you have enough access to energy and know how to manipulate the chi. That's why I'm directing people to the 80 mortals, because these are the tutors that will help you to understand the science from the inside out. You have to identify which one of the 80 mortals are you. You have to read the descriptions of the 80 mortals, find out which one is you. One of them are going to resonate more than the other one. That's the door that you need to walk down. That's the path that you need to take. Simple as that. And again, that's going to open you up to the Eastern philosophy and the Eastern cultures that just a lot of people just don't talk about. A lot of, you know what I mean? It's because they just feel like they don't feel connected to it. But, you know, that's the exact reason why you're going into it. Now, you know, those of us who grew up, you know, watching things like anime and manga, we may feel a connection to the Far East. But for those people who didn't grow up watching that type of stuff, they may not feel a connection. But either way, whether you already have established a connection or you don't have a connection, it's not going to hurt for you to build up an alliance with more and more cultures and different masters and energies from the unseen to assist you in better understanding who and what you are already and how to access the powers that you already have. You just have to relearn how to use it. Again, this is just because we're in a crazy time. You know, we're in a crazy place. This is planet Earth. You know, this is a very hellish realm, but nonetheless a very beautiful place to live and a very beautiful place to learn who and what you are. We came here to learn who we was and ascend to bigger and better things. You know, we didn't come here to get attached to buying stuff and doing this and doing this. We didn't come here to get attached to this earth. We came here to go through this earth as a school. Learn how to activate your psychic body, your etheric body, your Merkaba, your spaceship, your mothership. Learn the coordinates of your ship so that you can fly the fuck up out of here when it's time. You learn your lesson and you move on, and because you have no attachment to this planet, for this 3D realm. There's still people here who have all type of attachments. That's why they can't transcend. That's why they become the walking dead. That's why they have to reincarnate, because they still have attachments, because they didn't fully fulfill their life. Because how can you when you are under someone else's control? Because you want something that they have. When you understand that you have everything you need already, you don't need anything from anyone. Right? But you have to truly know yourself. Yo, I can manifest whatever I need directly from thought. I don't need anything from anybody. Those are tapping into your inner resources, as opposed to thinking that I need $1 million to accomplish my goals. Versus, I can think my way so that I can vibe on a frequency to accomplish my goals. The money may come from another source. So because I'm thinking so much, how am I going to get $1 million? How am I going to get $1 million? How am I going to get $1 million? The million can come from another source. All you have to do is think about how to set things in motion once you get the money. But we never get to that point because we never get past, how am I going to get the money? How am I going to get the money? When you should have been thinking about what are you going to do when you got the money. Have you planned everything out accordingly? Probably not, because you like, well, shit, if I can't get the money, then with the... But when you have the plan, the money comes. You must be the plan maker. See, people don't understand their position. Maybe you were chosen to make plans. You wasn't chosen to get money or to be able to generate money on that frequency. You may not have those abilities, but you are a great plan maker so that they can invest in your plans, because they may not be able to do that because their mind has to be focused on money. Everybody has a position. Some people got to focus on the money. There's some people got to focus on the plans. Some people got to focus on this. Some people got to focus on that. We have to all play our positions. That's why we all are different. So if you're not necessarily the money conscious person, then you have to be the planner. If you're not the planner, then you have to be the doer. Whatever it is. You know, somebody left me a super chat. Hold on, let me stroll down. What's up, Marvin the Magi? Peace, Lord, keep building. You already know. You know what I mean? We're gonna, you know, I'll make it a solid hour. Cause I know I'm, you know, hopefully I'm dropping gems, you know, that can be useful to somebody out there in the present, in the here and now, past or future. So again, once again, you know, don't be ashamed to exchange your energy. If it benefits you, don't be afraid to like the video. Don't be afraid to share it. Don't be afraid to comment. You know what I mean? Leave the donations or get a service from me if you want the even exchange. Whatever you want to do, just make sure you're showing love so that it can expand the way it's supposed to expand. Once again, what's up, Leandro? I see you. Let me see. Make sure I answer all the questions. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, right. I think I have one more question. Okay, if you're in the state of astral travel, how do you navigate so that you can control your surroundings? It's more so of you understanding that everything is being projected from within. So once you understand everything is being projected within, everything must be controlled with thought. See, when we are in the physical, or what we call the physical, we don't necessarily see the link between thought and matter. But when you're in the astrals, and you are aware that you're in the astrals, so I'm not just saying you are having an astral dream. I'm talking about you are in the astral dream and you stop yourself and you become conscious. Like, yo, I don't have to be following this pool. There's like a gravitational pull, you know, when you dream but you're not conscious. It's like you're being pulled by a gravitational pull. So when you break that gravitational pull by retaining your consciousness and becoming aware, it's like you break the chains. You become aware. I'm like, okay, cool. So now you start to place things from within you on the outside with your thought. You start to see thought materialize into things and you understand the whole process, because now you're on the astral plane. You can see deeper. You can see on a subatomic realm, and you can see on a grand scale, because again, you can adjust your eyes to whatever frequency that you want to tune into. You just like it's all an adjustment of thought or your eyes. Like, okay, if I want to see on an atomic level as if I'm looking through a high-powered microscope, I can adjust my eyes to that frequency and see it. Or if I want to adjust my eyes to look directly at the sun or look at how far this star is from the Earth, I can adjust my lenses to see how far up the star is, and to get those calculations and to align certain earth elements or certain altars in alignment with that star, so I can pull down the energy from that star so that it can help me in my physical life. Hopefully that didn't go over y'all head. Alright? We building though, we building. Greetings from Poland. What's up, Poland? I see it was this WIKTRWROZ. However you say that. Walter. However you say your name. Peace to you, brother or sister. So there we go, right? So nothing more needs to be said, right? I think I made myself perfectly clear. I gave you many examples, gave you some type of insight into what the possibilities are, and that these things are becoming more and more necessary. You know, it's becoming less and less of a thing that's cool, a thing that's fun. It's becoming more of a thing like, yo, this is something that you're going to have to rely on at some point. Even if it's when you die, when you become strictly a spirit, or when you go back into the carbon, this is how you navigate that realm, just strictly through thought and manipulating the chi. When you no longer have a vessel, so you either preparing for your death or you're preparing for the astral plane, which further helps you to prepare for navigating the cosmos without a vessel when you are strictly spirit. So this is a spiritual training. You're getting your training up so that you don't become a lost soul because you don't know how to navigate in higher dimensions and higher frequencies because you never put in the work. But you see that, you know, the further you go back in ancient culture, this is all they did is put in spiritual work because they knew where they were going. They understood this process. They understood that this is absolutely necessary. It wasn't about, I need to become a millionaire. Like, I need to make sure that I preserve my body all the way to the point where it cannot be preserved, and now I can transcend the physical so that I can be a free sovereign spirit and do whatever it is that I please, because now you are the master. Now you understand how sound becomes matter. You become the master. Now there is no need for you to even have a physical vessel. The physical vessel was just so that you can experiment and come to the realization of who and what you are. Once you come to that realization, there is no need for the vessel because you have been awakened to the truth, the oneness, instead of the separation. The vessel tells you that I'm right here and you're over there. But when you go beyond the duality, I'm over here, you over there. No, we are all spirit. We are all one. There is no time or no need for separation. So when you exist in the realm of spirit where there is no separation, you know how to navigate, and you know how to blend in to the all and become one with the all. As they say, the ego death. Right? Your ego no longer exists. It's no longer relevant. You become a part of the all. And for people who don't understand what it means to become a part of the all, now you can at least have a perspective of what that means. Right? So we can do this. We can do this all day. But we definitely want to keep things structured. We want to keep things straight to the point. You know, I mean, I don't want to talk y'all heads off. You know, I don't want to preach. So we're going to keep it raw. We're going to keep it gutter. We're going to keep it like that. So yeah, what's up, T-Flex TV? So again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Definitely check out the website, asharenu.com. Hit up the email, asharenu.com. You know what I mean? I appreciate the super chats. Again, I appreciate the donations, whether you're doing it through Cashapp, whether you're doing it through PayPal. I appreciate all the energy exchange. You know what I mean? Let's continue to build. So I'll get at y'all a little bit later. We out. Peace, hotel. Hold on, I got one more question. Y'all called me. I was about to hit the X. But okay, I'll answer this last thing. Can you talk about ceremonial magic, rituals, and manifestation? It's just you're doing everything that I'm talking about on a bigger scale. Ceremonial magic is you're just bringing in more elements into your magic. Pretty much, you're bringing in the earth element into your magic. So let's just say you create a circle, and now you got certain herbs over there. You got the marijuana over there. You got the tobacco over there. You got the mugwort over there. You got the star anise over here. You got these different herbs over here. You got, so you're bringing in, it may be you're trying to channel in a certain planetary energy. So you're bringing in more and more elements. That's why it becomes a ceremony, because you're bringing in more and more elements. Then when you have all the herbs, now you got these seals. These seals are the body of deities or intelligence. So now you create a seal that will reflect the intelligence of a certain energy that you're bringing in. So boom, you may be bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4 different deities or spirits, and you have created their bodies, and their bodies are the seals. And now you are utilizing the energy from the plants. The plants are now giving life and energy to these beings. And again, don't have to stop at plants. It can be animals. This is why people do blood sacrifices or human sacrifices. But you don't have to go there. You can depend directly on the prana. You know what I mean? Again, the more energy you build up, you can project your energy into it, and you can have a reaction. You can give this spirit a body, even if it's just in the spirit realm, but you have higher consciousness, so you can see the body formulating in higher dimensions. Using these seals as vessels, and they're gathering energy from all the things that you have gathered in ritualistic form. The ritual means the correspondence. Like you know what this corresponds to, you know what that corresponds to, so you eventually have a plan, or you essentially have a plan. That's what makes it ritualistic. And the manifestation comes from gaining insight from the deity or the spirit that you are channeling, being able to listen and decode what's being said to you, and it's going to give you insight into what you need to do to accomplish your deed. So that's ceremonial magic. All right, there you go. We're definitely going to stay blessed. Yeah, I appreciate you, Ian. I like the live streams too. Egyptians didn't die, they became a different dimension. That's basically what I'm saying. That's the whole reason why I said they spent their whole life training for a different dimension to transcend. That's why I said that. That's the same for us. That's why there is no death. We just transcend. We learn how to live without physical vessels. That's essentially that's what I'm saying. You learn how to live without a physical vessel, where you become purely etheric. You know what I mean? So I just said the same thing in a different way. It's the same science. I'm just saying it in a different way. Somebody disliked the video within the first couple minutes. You already know. You gotta. Everybody don't like the truth, But there is no truth. There's no absolute truth. There's all half truth. So they may be on the other side of that half truth. So be it. You know what I mean? We don't mind people having a disagreement. Everybody's free to disagree and to do things however they see fit. So everybody's not gonna like it. It don't matter how positive it may seem to many of you. Many of you, this message is completely positive. But obviously somebody else who's on a different frequency views this as I wouldn't even say they view it as negative, because they know it's not negative. They just may not like the perspective. And therefore, for whatever reason, so they're just on the other side because they choose to exist in polarity. Like somebody has to be the hater. Somebody has to be the troll. Somebody has to be, the disturber. Right? Somebody has to disrupt the energy flow. So if it has to be them, then they don't mind being, you can say, the Joker figure. Somebody has to be the Joker. Somebody has to come in and try to manipulate and try to sway the people who are blessed to understand the spiritual language, such as myself and everybody watches. The people that are blessed to understand this language. They want to come in and place doubt in your mind, like, this motherfucker don't know what he's talking about. That's pseudoscience. None of that shit is real. You're wasting your time. So you're going to always have those who are placed here as agents just to manipulate your mind. And you clearly know what's being said is right and exact. It's factual. There's no lies being told. However, the lies don't have to be told. It just has to be somebody come in and place doubt in your mind. Then you lose out on all the value that you could have received by putting in that work. So these people have to exist. This is just the law of polarity. So we're not mad at the trolls. We're not mad at the haters. We understand that they serve a purpose. It's all about when you are stronger, when your power level has ascended to that of a hater, then they become irrelevant. It's like they can be in the exact room you're in and you don't pay them no mind because they thrive off of attention. Because if you're not giving them attention, then they feel useless. You know? Watch a troll, just give a troll no attention and they start trolling harder. Then they gonna do whatever they can to gather your attention, to throw you off, to take you off the path. But that's their purpose. That's what they're supposed to do. So there's no problem with they are serving their purpose. It's like there are people on this earth who have came here just to manipulate you, just to use you as a battery. It's not to be mad at them, it's just that you have to be wise enough not to fall for the trap. Instead of talking about the trap itself, be wise enough to notice the trap and to navigate around it. Because the traps will be set. The traps will be set. You just have to be wise enough to navigate around it. But they will be set for you. And there's going to always be traps that will be set on all levels of existence. But you have to be wise enough to navigate through. That's why you gain wisdom and you don't focus on just accumulating a bunch of stuff. You focus on accumulating the wisdom because the wisdom is going to take you further than material items, because the material items mean nothing in the etheric realm. You can't protect yourself with material things when you astral travel, when you battling things, when you going through certain dimensions that may be a little darker. See, everything ain't about love and light. You must master both dimensions. You must master the law of polarity. You must master the light and the dark. So the trolls mean nothing, and those who are like-minded mean everything. Because these are the people who you can gain charge from, you can gain energy from, you can exchange energy without neither person being vampiric. The energy can be exchanged and it grows and it multiplies instead of somebody draining somebody else's energy. So we appreciate the trolls, we appreciate the haters because they are necessary. They help you to build up your power level. Build up and be wise, right? So build up and be wise. So we're going to get up out of here. So peace, everybody. We're going to stay on our rocks, though. We up.